Welcome back to the universe of power. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Please like, comment, and subscribe for all things within the Power universe. In today's video, I will break down why I believe Chicago is only the first stop for Tommy in Power Book Force, as well as how Power Book 2 Ghost could eventually tie in with Force. Towards the end of the video, I will also give my take on Tommy's connection with the school that he sent D-Mac away to. Now, we all know that right around when Tommy's spinoff was first announced, they teased the idea of Tommy going to California to work with Cash's father Kadeem. But when Power Book Force was finally released, we saw Tommy end up in Chicago. Now I am aware that there have been mixed reviews on Force ever since Season 1. Some people love it and some people have a strong dislike for the series. Personally, I like a lot of different things about Force, but I also think that there is something completely missing within this series. But this video won't be about me giving my review on the show. This season we have seen a lot of different people wanting to get Tommy out of the picture, and in my opinion, I think things will only get worse for Tommy as this season reaches its end. Between the feds closing in on Tommy, Vic working with them, along with the Serbs being a major threat, I think that Tommy will find himself cornered by the end of the season, which would explain why Tommy appeared in New York in Power Book 2 Ghost. Not to mention, once Miguel finds out that Tommy has been dating his sister, I believe that Miguel will cut all ties with Tommy and make him a target. I just get this feeling that Miguel's sister Mireya will be taken out in the crossfire in some kind of way. I also think that Jannart's time is coming closer and closer to the end. It's quite obvious that he will either OD or be taken out by Miguel before the season is over. With all of that being said, I think that Tommy will start to run out of options in Chicago and start regrouping his plans. I think by the end of Season 3 we could see Tommy head to California. I believe Diamond will also head to California with Tommy. I still think it's too early to say whether or not D-Mac will be with Tommy if he decides to go to Cali. Part of me thinks that D-Mac will leave the school that Tommy sent him away to and go back to Chicago only to get taken out. They have been teasing the death of D-Mac ever since Season 1. And for the people that say Force will never be in California, I would like to point out an interview that actor Joseph Sikora did, where he says that he thinks that it's going to take all facets of Tommy to not only survive, but to potentially thrive, and to potentially leave Chicago. He then went on to say that we don't know if it's going to be one city and then another city, or what connections need to be made. If we just go off of that statement that he made, it sounds like Force relocating to California was always in the plans. I think the writer's strike is the reason for Power Book Force starting out in Chicago. As far as the connection between Power Book 2 Ghost and Power Book Force, I think that Tariq and Braden will find themselves in need of a new connect after everything that happened in the finale with Noma. And I think that Tommy could definitely benefit from having Tariq move his product in New York. I also would not be surprised if Noma has some kind of connection to someone in Power Book Force. Maybe Miguel, the Serbs, or even Claudia. Noma seems to know a lot of info on various characters in Power Book 2, so I would not put it past her to be connected with someone in Chicago as well. Keep in mind, Noma runs an organization, so it would not be surprising for her to have many different connections throughout the country. In my opinion, I think Tommy's original plan was to make as many connections as possible before he went off to California. But in the process of doing so, he just got caught up in Chicago. I think Tommy will have no other choice but to go to California at the rate Season 2 is going for him. I don't think Tommy will change his mind with helping Tariq take down Noma, but I do believe that Tariq will encounter a way more serious threat than Noma that will force Tommy to step in. When it comes to Ghost making his return to Power Book Force, I really don't see it happening. Well, at least not this season. I think it could be possible that we get some kind of tease in the finale of him being alive. Both spin-offs have shown us the evolution of both Tommy and Tariq, but they still have a lot to work on. Depending on the direction the writers want to go in with Tommy, I believe that in the end Tommy will face his own demise if he continues to act off of his emotions like he always does. Now it will be hard for a lot of people to see Tommy get taken out when it's all said and done, but I think that unless Tommy makes some serious changes and thinks back to the advice that Ghost gave him, I really don't see Tommy surviving past Season 4 of Power Book Force. But I do believe if the ratings start to fall, Stars will have no other choice but to bring Ghost back in force before Power Book 2 Ghost. I think it would make sense for Diamond and 2-Bit to go with Tommy when he decides to leave for California. I expect to see 2-Bit before the end of the season in force. I think we will start to see more connections between the two spin-offs the further they go along. The only way I could see Tommy making it out of the streets alive is if he decides to take the same route Ghost took. But with all of the heat that he has on him in New York and Chicago, I think Tommy's only real option to get away from everything would be to leave the country. When Tommy does decide to leave for California, I think that he will have just as much heat on him as he did in New York and Chicago. So that is why I find it very hard to find a scenario where Tommy makes it out alive or avoids serious prison time without leaving the country. Now, as far as the school that Tommy sent D-Mac away to, I don't really buy into the theory of the school being connected to Ghost in any type of way. The particular school that D-Mac was sent away to is located down south in Georgia. One thing that I'm sure went unnoticed by a lot of people was that Mecca actually attended that same school. Mecca was one of the soldiers that Lobos obtained from this school. If we go back to Season 2 when Mecca was introduced to us, we saw how Monet told Mecca that she never forgave him for just up and leaving the neighborhood back in the day. It's most likely that we can assume that Mecca got in trouble when he was younger and got sent away. In Mecca's own words, we saw him say that he had to make a choice. I'm not sure exactly which specific episode it was where Mecca mentioned that he attended the schools of America, but I am quite sure I remember him mentioning this. Now you're probably wondering, how does this tie in with Tommy? In the original Power series, when Ghost and Tommy met up with Lobos, we saw Tommy talking to one of Lobos' henchmen about attending the schools of America as if he knew about it. I believe this may have been in Season 1, around when they first met Lobos. So I believe that it could be possible that Tommy's grandmother may have funded the money for Tommy to attend there when he was younger before he met Ghost and Kanan. It could be possible that Tommy only attended this school for a short period of time before getting kicked out. This would explain further how Mecca knew not only Ghost but Tommy as well. Tommy most likely has connections to someone that still is currently working at this school, which would explain how he was able to get D-Mac in. I believe Tommy was a very different child before meeting up with Ghost and Kanan. I think D-Mac reminded Kate of Tommy when he was a kid before he took a turn for the worse. This is just my opinion based off of what we have already been shown. How do you see Tommy's story ending? Will he make it out alive? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for all things within the Power universe. See you all next time in the universe of Power.